Dear brother and sister. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek shelter to Allah from the rejected shaitan. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. You will be glad to know that touch method is the academic section of touchism. It is the real and actual solution for world human crisis. Nowadays, touch method has taken a great plan to create some videos and circulate it for the greater interest of world human being. This video is about the test tube babe rules in Islam. Question: what is the ruling on so-called test tube babies? Published date, November 4, 1999. Praise be to Allah. This matter has been studied by the Islamic Fiqh Council, Majma al-Fiqh al-Islami, who issued the following statement. 1. The following 5 methods are forbidden according to Sharia. They are forbidden either in and of themselves, or because of their consequences such as mixing lineages, not knowing who the child's mother is, or other reasons that are objectionable according to Sharia. When fertilization takes place between sperm taken from the husband and an egg taken from a woman who is not his wife, then the embryo is placed in his wife's womb. When fertilization takes place between sperm taken from a man who is not the husband, and an egg taken from the wife, then the embryo is placed in the womb of the wife. When fertilization is done externally between the sperm and egg of the couple, then the embryo is placed in the womb of the woman who volunteers to carry it, surrogate motherhood. When fertilization is done externally between the sperm of a man who is not the husband and the egg of a woman who is not the wife, then the embryo is placed in the womb of the wife. When fertilization is done externally between the sperm and egg of the two spouses, then the embryo is placed in the womb of another wife, of the husband. 2. The 6th and 7th methods are acceptable as a last resort in cases of necessity, when it is certain that all necessary precautions have been taken. These 2 methods are: when the sperm is taken from the husband and an egg is taken from the wife, fertilization is done externally, then the embryo is planted in the womb of the wife. When the sperm of the husband is taken and injected into a suitable place in the cervix or womb of the wife so that fertilization may take place internally. Other reservations that pose a concern in this matter include the uncovering of the woman's urethra and most private parts, the possibility of mistakes in the laboratory, the possibility that some weak-minded people in some hospitals may breach their trust and deliberately switch eggs or sperm in order to make the operation a success and earn more material gains. So we have to be extremely cautious when dealing with this matter. And Allah knows best. Al-Majma al-Fiqh, p. 34. Q. Can you give me a fatwa on test tube babies? My brother who is childless wants to go for this medical treatment in order to have children. But a friend of mine has told me that this is haram. Can you tell me if it is haram and why, and what is the procedure involved? Awaiting your answer eagerly. A. Surrogacy. Surrogacy involves a woman, the surrogate, agreeing to bear a child, and subsequently to surrender that child to be brought up by a person or persons other than herself. Surrogacy may be useful where a woman is unable to bear a child, due to severe pelvic disease, or she has had a hysterectomy, or because she has medical problems, for example heart or kidney disease, and pregnancy may seriously threaten her life or health. The undermentioned definitions regarding surrogacy have been summarized from the Reproductive Revolution, Singer, P. and Wells, D. Oxford University Press 1984. The most common form of surrogacy is where a couple arrange for a surrogate to undertake artificial insemination using the semen of the male partner. This is called partial surrogacy. Alternatively, a surrogate may have a biological link with the child she bears by virtue of the fact that fertilization was achieved by means of IVF followed by embryo replacement. This is called IVF and DR surrogacy. For instance, where a surrogate has blocked fallopian tubes but has no ovulation problems. A surrogate-born child may have no genetic link with the surrogate at all. In other words, the surrogate is merely offering her gestation function to an embryo. This is referred to as false surrogacy. A more unlikely possibility, where the surrogate has no genetic link with a child, is where the commissioning parties also have no genetic link with a child, for instance, where an embryo is donated by anonymous gamete donors. This is referred to as donate embryo surrogacy. Surrogacy can also be classified according to whether or not money is a concern. Where payment is involved, depending on the sort of payment, and to whom it is made, one can envisage at least three different possibilities. The first possible situation arises where a woman agrees to be a surrogate, providing that the commissioning parties will compensate her for all expenses for the conception and birth of the child and any loss of earnings by the surrogate during the period of confinement. This is surrogacy with reasonable compensation. The second possibility is where a surrogate may receive payment besides that which represents a reasonable compensation. This is called surrogacy for a fee. The third possibility is where payment may be made to a party other than the surrogate. An agency may operate on a commercial basis, arranging surrogacy and charging both surrogates and commissioning parties to bring them together and for provision of counseling services. This is called commercial surrogacies. This is one of the reasons why the media often calls surrogacy baby selling. However, money is not necessarily an important part of surrogacy. For instance, a sister may bear a child for her infertile sister, and the whole transaction may involve no payment of money or other rewards. This is called surrogacy in principle. The above-mentioned techniques no doubt allows an infertile couple to have a child who would have the genetic complement of the husband, if the husband's sperm is used to fertilize the ovum of the surrogate woman. But, this is where the problem arises. Fertilizing the ovum of a woman by the sperm of a man other than her husband can be regarded as an adulterous union. Thus it would be illegal under Islamic law. Now it may also happen that the sperm in the ovum of the married couple is fertilized in vitro and placed in the womb of the surrogate mother who would be paid for giving birth to the child who would, in that respect, bear the genetic complement of the contracting couple. Here, it may be pointed out that Islam does permit Muslims to have their children breastfed by other women. If that is done, then the child would be like the child of the wet nurse. This means that if the wet nurse has her own biological children, then the child she breastfed would not legally be permitted to marry any of her own biological children. But, it must be emphasized that this privilege can in no way serve as justification for the surrogate mother. No parallel can be drawn between the wet nurse and the surrogate mother. The wet nurse provides the basic nourishment to the already born child, while the surrogate mother carries the unformed child to term and literally gives birth to it. Islamic verdict. Scholars of Islam have pronounced the following fatwa, Islamic verdict, regarding surrogacy. It is illegal and immoral to introduce into a woman the sperm of any man other than her husband. The formation of the embryo outside the human body will only be permissible subject to certain strict conditions. It will be haram, forbidden, to form the embryo by the fusion of a woman's ovum with the sperm of a man other than her husband. It is also not lawful to implant into a woman an embryo developed in a haram way. Consequently, it will be quite obvious that it is haram to introduce sperm or embryo into an unmarried woman. If, in violation of Allah's law, either the sperm of a man other than the husband's has been introduced into an unmarried woman nor haram-formed embryo has been introduced into a woman, the rulings will be as follows. 1. If the woman is married, the resultant child will legally be that of her husband even if it is confirmed that the sperm used was not that of her husband. 2. The same ruling will apply if the child results from a haram embryo. Even if the embryo was formed by the fusion of the woman's ovum with the sperm of another man, the child will legally be that of her husband. 3. The donor of the sperm has no right whatsoever over the child even if prior agreement or contract was entered into to give him the right over the child. 4. If the woman is unmarried, the resultant child will be illegitimate and would be regarded to be that of the surrogate mother. Surrogate motherhood was definitely not allowed in Islam due to the fact that many evils may arise from this procedure, which can be listed as follows. 1. Unmarried women could be tempted into leasing their wombs for monetary benefits, which would, in turn, undermine the very institution of marriage and family life. 2. In order to relieve themselves of the agony of childbirth, married women could be tempted to resort to this technique. Islam abhors such action. 3. Since pregnancy cannot to be regarded as a burden, but in fact it is a blessing, a woman who passes away whilst in the process of delivering, is given the status of a martyr. 4. A Transvaal surrogate grandmother gave birth to her daughter's IVF triplets on October 1987-76, which was a result of the South African government not clamping down on such practices. Can Pat Anthony's surrogate mother action in carrying the children of her biological daughter, Karen, be morally justified? In doing so, she has implanted the sperm of her son-in-law into her womb. Biologically, the surrogate children she gave birth to would become her daughter, Karen's, brothers and sisters, and at the same time, would be legally regarded as Karen's children. Karen in turn would thus be sharing two types of relationship with the same children. 5. Finally, surrogate motherhood violates the systematic planning of Allah and the normal process of procreation. Islamic Principles on Family Planning, Mufti Ali Harun Sheikh, Kasali Publication, p. 150-153. Q. Assalamu alaikum, can you please comment on artificial insemination and test tube babies? Answer. Sister has posed a question, can I comment on artificial insemination and test tube babies? Whether it is allowed or not in Islam, that is what she means. Sister, artificial insemination is of two types, one is homogeneous and the other is heterogeneous. Homogeneous means using the sperm and the ovum of the husband and wife. If suppose the wife or the husband has certain medical problems and if you know by doing homogeneous artificial insemination they can give birth to child, it is perfectly allowed. But heterogeneous artificial insemination, in which you get a sperm from a sperm bank, it is totally haram. How you have blood bank here today you also have sperm bank you cannot go to a sperm bank and get a sperm, and use it in your wife. That is haram. So homogeneous artificial insemination is allowed, heterogeneous is not allowed. Same way, for the test tube babies or whatever, if it is of the husband and wife, it's totally allowed. If it is not of husband and wife, it is not allowed, it is as good as adultery. Hope that answers the question. Question. My name is Muhammad Shahadat. I am a chemical engineer in Hindustan Petroleum. In Quran it is mentioned that it is Allah who decides the characteristics and the personality of a person inside his or her mother's womb. In the field of genetics this field has advanced so much, that nowadays parents can tailor-make their children. If they want to have a very bright student, they can have it by just having that genetic code changed. Isn't this contradictory with Quran? Posted on May 31, 2013. Answer. The brother has posed a question that today genetics field has advanced and it's possible that we can change the genetics of the child that is going to be born. Quran says that Allah is one who shapes who forms. And I do agree with that. Quran says in several places, so does it not mean it is not contradicting the Quran? No brother, it is not. When it gives a statement, the Quran says, without the power of Allah, it is not possible, without the power of Allah, it is not possible at all. For example, I will give an example. Quran says in Surah Rahman, ch. 55, Verse number 33, that with power and skill you will be able to penetrate the heavens and the earth, not without the permission of Allah, SWT. Means, you will penetrate the heavens and the earth, but only with permission of Allah, SWT. So today, because people are growing in the heaven, does not mean that the Quran is wrong. Quran says, you can do, but with the permission of Allah, SWT. Without permission of Allah, SWT, it is predicting that people will go in outer space, in moon, etc. But if Allah does not want it, it cannot happen. And you know the incidents of Challenger apostrophe. Challenger tried to take off, what happened? It tried to challenge Allah, SWT, what happened? Nothing. Even today we say, family planning. Do you know there is no family planning which is perfect? Even if you do tubectomy or vasectomy, if Allah wants He can yet bring easy conception to that lady. Even if she practices permanent method like tubectomy, or the husband does vasectomy, still there are chances. But negligible chances, that the baby can be born. If Allah wishes, no one can stop. You do any family planning method. In genetics also, if they are able to change, it is with Allah's permission. If Allah does not want, you cannot change it all. So few people are successful, all are not successful. Those who are successful are with the permission of Allah, SWT. Those who are not, Allah has not given them permission. Same way. Family planning. Those who are successful, Allah gives permission. Those who are not successful, Allah does not give permission. Hope that answered the question. Answered by Dr. Zakir Naik. So dear brother and sister, you can join with us and also can take the demand-able and valuable courses. Learn yourself and share this information to your relatives, friends, neighbors and general peoples. You can contact with us anytime. Thanks with ATM Wolila, poet and blogger. B.A honors first class. Masters Arabic medium. Another Masters in English Language and Executive MBA. Inventor and Skill Chancellor. Touch Method. 51,51A, 6th floor Purana Paltan, Dhaka 1000, Bangladesh. Mobile 017031811818 and Banglalink number is 01914624425. Email touchmethod@yahoo.com. Website www.touchmethod.blogspot.com.